Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our Monday night Bible study, 21st of June, 2021. We dealt with Second Samuel chapters in Second Samuel during the Sabbath class, the morning and the evening class, and I'm just gonna go back over that and so I saw some stuff I want to deal with. So I'm asking everybody to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button. Shalom and welcome everybody. We're going to do our moment of silence, and our prayer and our songs and current events. O Lord, righteousness and uprightness belongeth unto thee. Therefore we come before thee at this hour, seeking thy face and looking for righteousness and uprightness, that we may walk before thee as thy servant David and Solomon, Samuel and Hezekiah did, that we may walk before thee in truth and in righteousness and in rightness of heart. Give unto us, O Lord, an understanding heart, that we may discern between good and bad. For you possess the power to do so, O Lord. For we desire to walk after thee, O Lord, and keep your commandments and your testimony, statutes with all our heart and soul, to perform the words of the covenant that was written down by your prophets. O Lord, allow thy face to shine upon thy people. Hear our plea, hear and do, O Lord. Hide not thy face from us, for we need you so much at this hour. Peace be unto you, Lord. Okay. What's up, Kim?
What's up now?
Okay.
How you guys doing? Shalom to everyone.
Okay. Yeah, so anybody let me get through my songs right quick. Okay. Shalom.
Shalom.
It's a prayer for help. Psalm 28. Unto thee will I cry, O Lord, my rock. Be not silent to me, lest if thou be silent to me, I become like them that go down into the pit. Hear the voice of my supplication when I cry unto thee, when I lift up my hands toward the holy oracle. Draw me not away with the wicked and with the workers of iniquity, who speak peace to their neighbors, but mischief in their hearts. Give them according to their deeds and according to the wickedness of their endeavors. Give them after the work of their hands. Render to them their desert, because they regard not the works of the Lord, nor operations of his hands. He shall destroy them and not build them up. Blessed be the Lord, because he hath heard the voice of my supplication. The Lord is my strength and my shield. My heart trusted in him, and I am helped. Therefore my heart greatly rejoiceth, and with my song will I praise him. The Lord is their strength, and he is the saving strength of his anointing. Save thy people, and bless thine inheritance. Feed them also, and lift them up forever. Okay, so I want to shine a light on verse 4. It says, give them according to their deeds, and according to the wickedness of their endeavors. Give them after the works of their hands, and render them their desert. So when you start talking about the works of thy hands, you're gonna go back to in the beginning, the Most High formed and created a man and a woman. Then he rested. Then on the eighth day, he formed the man. And so the difference in the two is that he's the reason why he's dealing with Adam's descendants the way that he do, because he formed them with his hands. It's personal. So same thing in heaven. When Yahweh formed those 7 angels, he got a bunch of angels he created, but he got 7 he formed. That's the reason why he's dealing with them the way that he did. He are, because they're more personal. He formed them with his hands. That'll work his hands. Okay. Shine light on that. Okay. So you got some current events. Anybody got any current events?
Shalom, everyone. I was reading where the VA is going to be offering gender surgery to transgender vets.
Okay.
They haven't announced the date yet when they're going to start, but that's just kind of crazy to me because you have vets that have served on the front line, been to war, that have to fight for a certain percentage of VA disabilities, but they coming out offering transgender surgery.
Right. Well, that's just where we at. They promoting that all over the place. I see where they got these with the hockey league.
Mm-hmm.
They're giving people those hockey sticks or whatever, like gifts, but they got the rainbow on it.
Mm.
Yeah, so they all over the place with that.
Right. They're promoting that more and more all the way across the board.
Right. Exactly.
Mm.
With that song?
Yes, it is.
Right. Okay. Anybody else got anything?
Yeah, I think, I don't know. It's just my own personal opinion now. To me, that leaves opportunity for breaches, especially if there's a war, because like there may be countries who don't. Anyway, never mind. It's really,
Okay.
yeah, never mind. Oh my goodness, that's unbelievable. But they doing anything nowadays, so
Right.
sky's the
Exactly.
limit. It's ridiculous. All to go against the word.
Right. Yeah. All that's major signs. Let you know where we at. Yeah. Anybody else?
Well, we just have to prepare our minds and hearts because remember what the word says is going to be before the end day, the for the end days are all our days are numbered here. That is going to be back to like Sodom and Gomorrah. Anything you can imagine the Sodom and Gomorrah, that's how the Antichrist is going to be able to thrive.
Right.
So it's going to get worse. So we just got to stay prayed up and keep ourselves in place and our minds on the Most High and our hearts.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Every commercial we see every day, there isn't a commercial. If you got 10 commercials, 8 of them is showing the push, that push. So
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. They subliminally they gonna push it down our throat.
Right.
but this one quick funny thing. Yesterday, my wife was talking about how she wanted to buy a bike. So I was in Walmart and I saw this real nice pink bike. I took a picture of it and gave it and sent it to her. She said she wanted it. So I'm standing in line with this big old 6'3", 288-pound black man standing in line with an old pink bike. And this one sister, she didn't want to say anything. My look does not say anything about being gay or homosexual, but she kept looking at me, looking at the bike and looking at me, trying to figure out, wait a minute now. The bike, and I'm just holding it, and I had several people look at me, and with that question mark on their face, who is this big Negro with this pink bike? But I thought it was the funniest thing because the one lady, she just turned to just kept looking at me and looking at the bike. But I didn't say anything. I just let it go.
Okay. I get some.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You heard and got out of there though, huh?
No, I just had my wife had to bring my truck up because I was driving her car to gas it up. So I had to stand there in front of the door with the bike. And yes, I got more eyes.
Right.
But
This
let,
old white guy he said, "It's Father's Day and stuff. That don't look like a Father's Day gift. Is that yours?" And I'm like, I said, "Just take a look in the front seat, mister." And then he saw my wife sitting there in my truck, and then he gonna bust out laughing
oh
and
my
kept walking.
goodness.
I said, "Okay." Yeah, I know he was trying to call me.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Is
But
there
you
some?
but you see how people can let their mind run away with them,
Right.
rather than thinking, oh, look what he's getting for someone else on Father's Day, not for himself.
Right.
Jeez.
Exactly. Okay. Did God love the people of Sodom and Gomorrah? I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Okay. Yeah. So I got a couple of current events. Uh, I've been talking about this before, and so when I saw this, I said I was going to share it. So, like I said, nothing happened by happenstance. These people constantly setting us up on a day-to-day basis. So this saying right here how Obama's election led to Trump's insurrection. Check it out. Okay. Here we go.
To understand how America got to this, we have to go back to this. November 2008, the election of the first black president.
Change has come to America.
Change is what the country had voted for, but to some, change brought fear.
Everything Obama.
And a right-wing media, then led by Rush Limbaugh, began to whip its audiences into a collective opposition.
I know what his politics are. I hope he fails.
That was a shocking moment when you have one of the biggest voices in American media, in global media, saying, I hope he fails. There were people who let themselves get spooked by the skin color. I think that his name, Barack Hussein Obama, I think there are people that couldn't get past that. He never had a chance.
It was the beginning of a path that led to Donald Trump's insurrection. New Mexico County Commissioner Coy Griffin listened to Rush Limbaugh every day.
Barack Obama was somebody that I don't feel like I could ever trust. Preachers should be up in the grill of filthy politicians, immoral politicians.
Evangelical preacher Ken Peters looked at this Christian president and saw a threat to his own religion.
Seeing how pro-Muslim he was versus pro-Christian, I hated how he apologized for America to other nations.
Joanne Rowe's son Donovan Krall called Obama racist names.
He would call him a porch monkey, and it would always make me mad when he would say comments like that. I ended up hanging up on him because I'd get so upset with him.
He felt that he was going to take his gun. What started it was the Tea Party movement, and then it just grew from there.
The Tea Party, a political revolution launched in opposition to President Obama's plans to tackle the financial crisis.
USA! 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 There was a lot of white rage. Sure, some of the Tea Party activists were out there talking about government spending and so on, but I remember being at Tea Party rallies seeing T-shirts that said, put the white back in the White House.
We are going to fire President Barack Obama.
A former airline flight attendant named Amy Kramer would use a painted bus, the Tea Party Express, for protests across the country. A decade later, she would be a key organizer of President Trump's rally on January 6th. the Tea Party would capture a new kind of political activism and anger.
There's a direct link between the Tea Party rebellion and the Trump rebellion, and then ultimately the insurrection.
In 2011, Donald Trump would capture that same energy of the Tea Party and embrace a conspiracy theory that would launch his own political career, birtherism.
All I want to do is see this guy's birth certificate.
That lie, that Barack Obama was not born in the United States, is as real in the eyes of some of those who stormed the Capitol as it was a decade ago.
It was in the Obama era that something started to stir my soul into politics. I mean, the whole birth certificate thing, there's so much proof he's not a U.S. citizen.
I don't feel like Barack Obama is a believer in America or what America is and what America stands for. Do you believe he's American? Oh, yeah, you know, I guess. I haven't seen his birth certificate. Have you?
Barack Obama would make two versions of his birth certificate public. It didn't matter.
I think the lesson learned from Trump in that entire saga is that he could get away with a lie.
Lighting a fire that's going to burn all the way to Washington.
Trump's rise was happening at the same time. A former investment banker and movie producer named Steve Bannon was building a conservative news site so powerful it would turn the Republican Party upside down. Named after its founder, Andrew Breitbart, Breitbart News would launch the alt-right into the mainstream.
This Tea Party energy, there was this real populist power in this. This was something totally different. This was not standard Republican Party. And then Breitbart became the blog site for that.
Kurt Bardella, former Breitbart spokesman, says the aim was to change America. And Bannon directed every story on Breitbart's homepage.
Truth and fact are not words that are used there. The goal isn't objectivity. It's more about what does the conservative side believe about this and how do they amplify that?
Breitbart's headlines were built on fear. Fear that the Second Amendment was being threatened. Fear of Obama. And most of all, fear of illegal immigrants.
This is why Bannon and Trump are so perfect together, because they both are ultimately perpetuating a massive con.
Okay, so like I was saying, this Esau right here at his finest. This how he sets everything up, and like I was saying right now, they setting up something right now with this with all this stuff they passed in Juneteenth and all that. They going somewhere with that, and like I said, it's straight to Africa. Straight, they want us over there. They setting it all up now. They set it up with. They set this up. This is how they operate right here. When we everyday citizens, they don't have a clue what's going on. They jump and get excited about every little thing that they do, when the whole time they're leading you into a trap. And we ain't figured it out yet. Anybody got any comments on that?
This is going to look a little bit offline, but you're showing the footage of them raiding the Capitol and all this other information. I'm honestly, I tell you guys, I'm a gun person. I own weapons, and for a career, I carried a gun for over 20-something years for the Federal Protective Service. I've always been a gun person. That was just my job. But if you go back and look at some of the footage, if you see all these guys with backpacks on, in each backpack, there was a foldable AR-15 inside of those backpacks.
Okay.
And you see them inside of them. If you watch some of the other footage, you actually see people with their guns out. But in a federal facility, you can't have a gun on the facility. So what they did was put them in backpacks, and if it came down to having to use them, they will pull them out then. But until then, they kept them in those backpacks. So if you see the guys with the backpacks and all that stuff, roughly 90% of them had an AR-15 or some kind of assault rifle in them. that's a collapsible, a foldable AR-15.
Okay.
And a lot of folks don't even realize those jokers were in the Capitol fully armed with assault rifles.
Right. They expecting the worst.
Yeah, they was prepared for the worst. Like the guys had the zip ties and the guys, you see the guys with the combat helmets on that you know about, Leonard. They most definitely had multiple weapons on them. Every last one of them had their weapons, because you do not wear that gear without having a weapon on you.
Right.
You see quite a few of those guys with those helmets, and but most definitely the ones that had the backpacks had AR-15s or some form of assault rifle.
Right. They downplayed that.
Yeah, they didn't even talk about it.
Right.
And they showed guys standing there with the AR-15s out on the front porch areas of the and interesting, you see it on YouTube, but you don't see it on the news.
Right. Okay.
I'm going, that's crazy.
Oh yeah. That ain't the end of it. Yeah. Okay. I got one more for, yeah. This is reparations tied to the same thing. They're doing the same thing with reparations, what they did with Trump and Obama. Okay.
Zora Neale Hurston. She said the present was an egg laid by the past that had the future inside its shell.
The enormous amount of hand labor required to grow and pick the cotton was supplied by great numbers of slaves.
The federal government must account for its ongoing role in perpetuating, supporting, and upholding white supremacy.
What our ancestors experienced in enslavement, in Reconstruction and Jim Crow and all the lynchings and lack of civil rights, it's built and baked into the structure and the society of America that we have to constantly deal with. And as we are trying to deal with it in the present, we have bodies that have been impacted from its presence in the past. And that then leads to heightened levels of physiological compromise, meaning our bodies are just worn down.
It is only this group that can singularly claim to have been slaves under the auspices, the institution, and leadership of the United States government.
How do you develop reparation proposals? How do you develop the repair? How do you analyze the systemic continued disparities amongst Black Americans along psychological, sociological, educational, economic, political lines? Black Americans, African Americans are America too, as every other group in this wonderful experiment.
HR 40 is a resolution to have a study of reparations, what they are, what they could be, what they would do. But I think it needs to be massive amounts of money into education, into healthcare, and ensuring that there's fair housing. And certainly voting is part of it now. The opportunity to vote, which John Lewis so well said, is the most important peaceful tool that anybody has. And you should have a right to be a voice in your government equal to everybody else.
To go from slavery to what was happening during the Reconstruction to then what happened during civil rights and even the war, how the World War I, World War II, and just so much that has happened, and those things have never been fixed. No matter what we've done as Black Americans, always still treated as if we are not human. It's not history. It's not just history. Those systems are ongoing and they are vicious. That trauma, science tells us that trauma, it is intergenerational. That pain that our ancestors have lived through, that is in our DNA.
Multi-generational trauma, or what some people refer to as historical trauma, originates with the subjugation of a group of people, and that subjugation becomes successful because there's overwhelming physical and psychological violence done to them. There's segregation and or displacement of the people. There's economic deprivation, and there's cultural dispossession. In other words, our culture becomes mute and unavailable to us, at least on a conscious level. That prolonged process happens over generations, such that it doesn't require that the present generation had to go through the exact experiences of their ancestors, because their ancestors' response to their trauma and their ongoing racial stress because of the subjugation gets passed on through a number of routes, including through our very genetic makeup.
So in order to have an effective reparations program, you need a full program that is going to tackle each of the harms that victims, that individuals and communities have experienced. And while, financial compensation is obviously a huge part of this conversation, we also have to be willing to have another, concurrent conversation about other remedies that are necessary. To take one example, Black people make up about 13% of the population, but 40% of the incarcerated population. You have communities, you have individuals who are not being rehabilitated. They're in squalor conditions, being forced into situations like solitary confinement. Then when they're released and re-entered into society, there is no government sanctioned plan that allows them to rehabilitate themselves from that experience.
As Black folk, we have collective trauma. It's not just me individual as a person. It's not just my individual family's experience historically. It is as a collective group. We have been put into one category, and everybody in that category has the potential to, in fact, be harmed by association with that category. So when I see someone like George Floyd being murdered in front of our eyes, I am George Floyd. My son could be George Floyd. My uncle or cousin could be George Floyd.
The same U.S. government that denied wealth to Black people has to restore that deferred wealth, and it has to come through reparations to their descendants in the form of individual cash payments in the amount that will close that Black-white racial wealth divide that we know is there. And in addition to that, reparations should come in the form of wealth building opportunities. It has to come in the form of how we address the racial disparities in education, in housing, in healthcare, in business ownership.
How do we understand the importance of doing the repair as something that benefits not just Black folk, but the entire society? It's really quite fundamental and basic. We are human beings. We are connected to each other. And for the sake of our own individual humanity, it's important that we are able to maintain a sense of empathy and compassion for our fellow human beings. How do I enjoy the fruits of life when right next to me there is massive suffering and injustice and pain? If I am not impacted by that, that is a sign that something has gone wrong for me as well. Over time, it will continue to erode to the point where the very thing that characterizes what makes us human beings is going to be compromised.
I know that we understand human rights. Reparations and HR 40 is human rights. And it is not so much a look back, but we can look forward.
Okay. Anybody got any comments?
I wanted to say, when you talk about collective trauma and how they have always wanted to induce fear into the masses in general, and in particularly, Black people, when you think about in slavery times when they would, torture a black man in front of his family or torture one of the slaves in front of the other slaves, you know, that put fear in them. And that was, you know, that was expected because they were in that horrific institution of slavery. When you fast forward to today, what we might not be remembering is that their intention is still to put fear in us, but it's even more horrific because we're supposedly free. We're supposedly, you know, it's not possible for them to do certain things, but they continue to kill black men, to torture black men, to do what they did to George Floyd in front of us in the 20th century. So to me, that puts even an even greater psyche of fear, because we're supposed to be free and this is still happening. You know, so that whole collective inducing of fear in us is major. I mean, we're looking forward to the Lord of Hosts coming and freeing us and all of, you know, and all of that. But the enemy or the powers that be, they have not let up on that fear tactic all these years.
Right. That's Deuteronomy 28.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then that's how they're able to have 95% of the world's wealth. While they killing African Americans over here, they killing people in record numbers in Africa, and not only that, they're killing the leaders.
Right.
They got the fear factor on both sides. That goes back to what I was telling you about the understanding what the concept of the Lord of Hosts mean. Yeah, Lord of Hosts means that it ain't Yahweh. He's second in charge, and not only that, he is a strong man. He brings fear. That's what the Lord of Hosts do. That's his job. He the enforcer for whatever kingdom it is. If it's David kingdom, he had Joab was the enforcer, and the Nebuchadnezzar had Nebuzaradan. That's what they do. People, when they come, what people might have had plans to do, they ain't gonna do it because they're afraid. They're afraid.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they do. It's the fear. They're using the fear factor to control the entire world.
Exactly. And Leonard, what's also going to be awesome and what is encouraging is when the Lord of Hosts shows up and he's bringing fear on our behalf. Right. A people who have been beat down, who no one thinks, you know, will ever rise again. I mean, they don't even, well, I know that you share with us that the powers that be know who we are, but right. The average person, the other nationalities of people, they have always seen us at the bottom of the totem pole, all of these horrific things happening to us. So when the Lord of Hosts comes and he announces that I'm here on these people's behalf, oh man.
Right. And they know, because the people that's behind all this is Esau, and he got our records. You know, he don't have them, or he not. And like I say, every time when when the truth is able to be revealed, like when they supposedly found the Dead Sea Scrolls, it's always something wrong with that particular part of the scripture. It's missing. And that's how he operates. Like I was showing the other day, David in 2 Samuel, it was two prophets, two seers that was dealing with David. David, when he first started ruling, he was dealing with Nathan, but at the end of his life, he was dealing with Gad. But who know Gad? Nobody know Gad. And then they got where his book at. So evidently, it's something very important in there for Israelites. The reason why you don't have the book of Gad.
You're saying GAD. You're saying because you know Gad isn't Gad one of the tribes?
Yeah, but there's a prophet called Gad.
Okay.
Yeah, so I remember I showed it to you. We're gonna get into that after a while. But yeah,
Okay.
he's a prophet named a seer called Gad. And just like he came after Nathan.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So yeah. So with that being said, anybody else have any comments on that?
Real quick, I'm gonna be real quick. When I want listening to this stuff and watching this stuff, all these lemons that's popping up, we already know as Hebrews what is expected. And the reason why I use the term lemons is because all these situations, and I take every opportunity, regardless of where I'm at, is when these conversations come up, that's my opportunity to talk to someone as to who we are and how and why these things occur.
Right.
So I'm just trying to take all this stuff and turn it to lemonade. And I tell them, don't be surprised or dismayed at this stuff. This just count this as joy, as knowing, hey, these things are actually, this is prophecy, and prophecy is winding up. So our time is short lived. And when I see it now, I don't get frustrated. I just go ahead and put some ice in there and a straw, and I get to drinking and sharing. So, so this is it's going to happen. It's not going to change. It's not going to change at all until that last day.
Exactly.
And to get frustrated, get dismayed by it, no, I don't. With all the shootings on and all this stuff has to happen. I don't get frustrated anymore. I don't get mad at our black people. I just talk to the ones that when I get a chance and opportunity, this is the time we as Hebrews is to go ahead and turn that lemon into lemonade and talk to somebody.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's not the Creator and the Lord of hosts. They know exactly what they're doing. They ain't not off kilter or nothing. They know exactly what they're doing. All we have to do is follow the script. So yeah. So I was playing those videos for a reason. Because like I was saying before, these people, once you figure out how they operate, they hit in a certain direction. And like I say, for a lot of people, it's gonna be a shock when it go down. It's gonna happen like overnight, all of a sudden. And here we go right here. They've been manufacturing right in front of our face, but we're not really paying attention. Here we go right here.
Sondi, showing you where development is happening. Please come and join us.
My name is Ambassador Arikana Kiombori Kwao. I'm the former African Union Ambassador to the United States and...
Oh, my bad. See what I did. Sorry about that.
By advertising on YouTube.
I'm Julia Sondi, showing you where development is happening. Please come and join us.
My name is Ambassador Arikana Kiombori Kwao. I'm the former African Union Ambassador to the United States and the founder and president of African Diaspora Development Institute. We are here to talk about the establishment of the Wakanda City of Return in Cape Coast, starting with the very place that our ancestors were taken out of our beloved continent.
Wakanda City of Return project launched in Cape Coast, Ghana. The Wakanda City of Return project.
Yeah, this Juneteenth, all this stuff right here. This the end result right here.
Has been launched in Cape Coast to pave way for the creation of an ultra-modern smart city that befits Cape Coast as a tourism hub. The African Diaspora Development Institute, ADI, two local companies and the city of Cape Coast that form the fulcrum around the building of the city say, they are leveraging on the heritage and cultural tourism assets of Ghana to create a place of pilgrimage for the people of African descent to know about their history, culture, civilization of Africa, and our role in the creation of the New World economy. The project is a private sector-led initiative to develop the coastline and new areas of Cape Coast by creating a heritage experience with the provision of 5-star hotels, retreat, health resort, conference center, entertainment, and the construction of the ultra-modern continental corporate headquarters for ADI. The organizers are convinced the timing of the project is apt as the country continues to benefit from the hugely successful Year of Return and the Beyond the Return tourism initiatives. Speaking at the launch of the project, Chairman of the Wakanda City of Return, Dr. Kojo Benjamin Taylor explained Cape Coast as a tourist city could not be measured anywhere in Ghana, and as a tourist center, it didn't have a project that fulfilled the tourism potentials it has. Thus, the organizers thought of creating a project that would allow people to come to Cape Coast, stay for some time, enjoy its spiritual nature, enjoy the entertainment aspect of it, enjoy it through the communities, and also enjoy the environment of futuristic event. They couldn't have chosen a much better place than Cape Coast to build the Wakanda City of Return. I am proud to be the chairman of the Wakanda One City. We will make this vision a reality. It takes only one person to kill an elephant for the whole village to enjoy, and that's what Adi and some of us have embraced. I believe that part of the joys of life is to be able to invest in the lives of others, and so we are ready to make it happen, he explained. The project talks about education, history, entertainment, food and hospitality of the people of Cape Coast and the Central region. We have targeted a certain sector of tourism called the heritage tourism, Dr. Taylor explained. Almost all the elements required for the smooth takeoff of the proposed $2 billion Wakanda City of Return.
Did you see that? It said door of return. That's where we left from. Jeremiah 29:14. It's the same place we left from right here.
Return project in the ancient city of Cape Coast are in place, Drive Kojo Taylor, chairman of the project, has assured. So far, 30,000 acres of undeveloped land have been secured in the Cape Coast metropolis and Asebu in the Abura Asebu Kwamankese district, and processes for documentation are in progress. Ghana will be the first to benefit from the ultra-modern smart city project, expected to be built in 55 African cities. The project is an initiative of the Cape Coast Metropolitan Assembly, CCMA, and the African Diaspora Development Institute.
Kojo Taylor, chairman of Wakanda City of Return. And we are here today to discuss the Wakanda City of Return project report. We did do a media launch about 2 months ago, and we have come back to do additional work where the project is starting. And this media event is to give additional information on what we have done today. Today, we are here to discuss the site. Yesterday, we went to the first site to look at the actual site.
In partnership with the Pelikape Company Limited, PCL, and Adepa Africa Investments, AAI. It is anticipated to create about 3,000 direct and indirect jobs and boost tourism development in the country. It comes with an airport, 5-star hotels, retreat centers, health resort, conference centers, residential estates, entertainment, and a continental corporate headquarters for the African Diaspora Development Institute, ADI. The city will serve as safe haven for pilgrimage of people of African descent to learn more about their history, culture, the civilization of Africa, and its role in the New World economy. A team of engineers on Tuesday inspected the 2 sites along the coastal stretch and the Sidoka Kompe area in Cape Coast and also at Asebu. Dr. Taylor expressed delight about the progress made so far with the building structures and systems for the next level to proceed, adding that a strategic plan as well as the documentation of the land were on course and the areas will be developed into a true city. He said a synergy of investments including bonds, private investors, institutional investors as well as individual investors were being sourced to finance the project, which would take off this year, 2021. The Chief Executive Officer of Adepa Africa Investments and Apagyahan of Asebu Traditional Area, Nana Abokezi Ampa I, assured the group of government's support to ensure that the project became a reality, indicating that Cape Coast was ready for the project. He explained that the smart city would be futuristic and welcoming to accommodate our brothers and sisters and help Africans in the diaspora have a place they will call their hometown. Professor Danso Owusu Sekire, Vice-Chancellor of Cape Coast Technical University for his part, said the time had come for all Africans to unite and pool resources together to build the city for the benefit of all. He noted that the CCTU, as the only engineering university in the region, would assist with its expertise and ideas to make the project a reality. He further urged stakeholders to pull their strength, ideas and resources together for what he described as great transformation to take place in Cape Coast, Ghana and the entire African continent. It will be built and we will all be proud of it, Professor Owusu Sekire noted, and stressed that Africa had a lot to offer and all should rise up to help build and develop the continent. The Wakanda City of Return project has been launched at a colorful ceremony at the Cape Coast Technical University Conference Room. The project, which is set to be a legacy project of the government's Year of Return.
Okay.
COVID's put life.
Anybody got any comments so far? Got about 3 or 4 more minutes.
No.
Nobody got any comments? Okay, thank you.
I just get more and more suspicious of Dr. Arikana.
Right, well, she part of the puzzle. Like I said, it's an octopus. And they ain't got all over the place, and they leading us right here. And you can just see, the implications of this. When they create this, you know how much money that is gonna be generated. These bankers, these Illuminati behind it, and that's what they hear. You keep saying the new world economy. That's the new beast. That's the 10th final incarnation of the 4 beasts. China and all, it's in Africa, which is Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
And then he told us we was gonna go back to by the way which we came. The land they talk about, where they developing is where we left from.
Right. And speaking of world economy, Leonard, Walmart doesn't take cash anymore. So I don't know if that's going to start spreading across the world, wherever Walmarts are, but the Walmart here in Virginia, no more cash. You can't pay for anything with cash.
Oh, right. All this tied together. They doing it all, like I said, they got most people caught up with what's going on with the news, which ain't really about nothing. And the whole time they bringing they're bringing everything together right in front of our face. But we focusing on the wrong stuff. Right.
So very much. Thank you very much. You came to the United States in 2018 to announce.
That's another piece of the puzzle.
Are you even shocked with the response this initiative has gotten, not just from African Americans, but folks in the UK, folks in Canada, and from other countries? I don't know if shocked is the word, but certainly let me say it's more than I expected.
And beyond the return tourism initiatives. It is expected to give birth to the construction of residential, tourism, and other facilities in the central regional capital, Cape Coast. Speaking at the launch, the mayor of Cape Coast, Hon. Ernest Arthur, expressed his appreciation to African Diaspora Development Institute, ADI, Pelikape Limited, and Adepa Africa Investments for accepting the Assembly's proposal to undertake the Wakanda City of Return project. The Wakanda City of Return project is a joint partnership between the Cape Coast Metropolitan Assembly, ADI, Pelikape Limited, and Adepa Africa Investments. The project, which is expected to provide over 3,000 jobs to people in the area, is also expected to boost tourism promotion in the area. The ultra-modern edifice, modeled around the architecture of the Wakanda City, as exhibited in the famous Black Panther movie, is expected to attract many across the globe to Ghana. It will also be a center for teaching the history of the Black race. The Wakanda City of Return will indeed cause the coastlines of Cape Coast to witness the construction of 5-star hotels, heritage walkway, retreat and health resort, conference centers, and the continental corporate headquarters of African Diaspora Development Institute, ADI. The partners add that the project will indeed be a sound arena for leveraging on the heritage and cultural tourism assets of Cape Coast in creating a definite place of pilgrimage for people of African descent to know the history, culture and civilization of Africa, as well as the continent's role in creating a new world economy and order. Addressing the gathering during the launch, the Paramount Chief of Cape Coast, Asabarima Kwesi Atatu, who was also the chairman of the event, lauded the initiative of the Assembly and its partners and pledged his commitment in making the project a success. He indicated that the project, which will be built on the coastlines of Cape Coast, should be used to correct the negative script about Cape Coast and Ghana as a whole in terms of development. He added that the ultra-modern city should be able to tell the world that Ghana is not only rich in tourism potentials, but is also rich in terms of the mental capacity to do great things. The Vice-Chancellor of the Cape Coast Technical University, Reverend Ing. Professor Joshua Danso Owusu Sekire, also pledged the readiness of the university to partner the investors in making the project a success, as the project will not only add to the tourism potentials in the area, but will also attract more investors into the area. On funding for the project, Dr. Kojo Taylor, chairman of the Wakanda City of Return, who is also a partner of Sanford Clinics, Ghana, noted that the partners are on course in raising the needed funds to build the city. He thus discounted suggestions that the project is going to be one of the promises which were never fulfilled. I have been involved in so many projects, including Sanford Clinics, and raising money for this project is not going to be difficult. We are going to give the public monthly or quarterly updates so that they know what we are doing, he added. This is the end of our today's program. See you tomorrow on Interview.
Okay. Any comments?
Is this the foundation where they're going to start pushing in the one world government, the one world religion? And my question is, where's the who makes the currency for the for Ghana? Is the Rothschild family and running that outfit?
Yeah, the bankers.
The bankers, yeah.
International bankers behind all this right here. Like I was saying, they already gave us when the UN told them to that they need to reprimand us for what they done to us as a people, way back in I think 2012 or somewhere in there. But they gave them the necessary resources they need to do that. They gave it was $23 trillion was allotted. So they just trying to figure out a way how to do it without, like I said, they're trying to figure out a way how to relocate us, do what they're gonna do with us, solve this problem, this black and white problem, and the whole thing. That's what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at it right now, and they got us keep on getting us. One of the main things was they brought Obama in there.
Mm-hmm.
So we was at the point where we was burnt out on this place, like now. Especially now that you got so many Israelites breaking up, knowing they Israelites, they don't want to be here no more. They burnt out on this place. So they work their jelly right around when the time comes and they manifest this right here, they gone.
Is this a pro or con? My concern is, like I said, is how is the how it's going to be ran, how it's going to be policed, socially, economically, financially, all that stuff. How is it going to be maintained?
It's going to be. They got the ADEI. ADI. She said ADI is the ones that's controlling it. That's where Dr. Arikana come in at. She's over there. Supposedly, she created it, but we know she didn't because she ain't really willing that kind of power. It's these Illuminati bankers behind all this.
Exactly.
The Rothschild.
Yeah.
So when you understand that, like I was saying, these people been doing this, but we just we weren't awakening, we weren't paying attention. So what we see going on right now, it was a serious world event happened back in the day, and it changed the way the world was operating back then. Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
Hitler done changed the way the world was. So it's a change will happen again. But my point is these corporations were behind it. And you go back and do your research, all of DuPont, all of countries was behind that funded Hitler.
Right.
Right? So you say, what you talking about? Well, let's look at this right here. This is the dead giveaway right here. Let me get it. And everybody, I'm quite sure everybody saw this, but they you know, they weren't connecting them dots. So here we go right here.
I'm Julia Sundu, showing you where development is happening. Please come and join us. Why did Twitter choose Ghana over Nigeria for its first Africa base? Twitter's announcement that it will set up its first Africa base in Ghana, West Africa, has generated fierce debate among Nigerian users of the social media and reignited the never-ending rivalry between the two countries, known colloquially as the Jollof Wars. Many Nigerians believe that Twitter's decision is a snub to the continent.
See, they can't understand why they chose Ghana, but now I just showed you what they get ready to do with the return and all that. That's why they chose Ghana. And it didn't choose Nigeria when Nigeria is the biggest economy in Africa, but they got another agenda going on.
Continent's largest economy, which is seeing rapid growth and investment in its tech scene. According to Noi polls, 39.6 million Nigerians have a Twitter account, which is more than the entire 32 million population of Ghana. Twitter chief executive Jack Dorsey capped a whirlwind tour of Africa in 2019 by pledging to move to the continent for several months in 2020. Now it seems that his business will make that move first. In a statement announcing the decision, Twitter described Ghana as a champion for democracy, a supporter of free speech, online freedom, and the open internet. The social media giant also cited Ghana's hosting of the Secretariat of the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, as another reason for moving there, saying it aligns with its ambition to establish a presence in the region that will support our efforts to improve and tailor our service across Africa. Ghanaian President Nana Akufo-Addo said the choice of Ghana as headquarters for Twitter's Africa operations is excellent news, and described it as a beautiful partnership between Ghana and Twitter, and which is critical for the dev of Ghana's hugely important tech sector. No ease of doing business. Some Nigerians blamed an inconducive business environment for Twitter choosing Ghana over Nigeria. Under Buhari, our ease of doing business is so bad that it's easier for terrorists to get phone lines than law-abiding residents. You can land at Ghana's Kotoka Airport and get a SIM card at the airport. But a camel has to pass through the eye of a needle to get one in Nigeria, said Reno Omokri via Twitter, a former presidential aide to former President Goodluck Jonathan. Omokri was referring to the suspension of new phone lines registration because of a federal government policy to link all active SIM cards in the country to a national identity number, NIN, for security reasons. The exercise is time-consuming and the deadline has been extended multiple times, leaving new arrivals unable to obtain a local number. Another Twitter user, Lawyer Mo Adele, wrote, "One of our clients wanted to open shop in Nigeria for their West Africa office. Once we sent him a breakdown of the regulatory requirements for their industry, also tech, they hit us with, 'We will get back to you.' We haven't heard back since then." Another commenter, Onyea Juju, said Twitter's decision was justified and that Nigerians had a bloated sense of entitlement. "It's unbelievable seeing Nigerians throwing a tantrum because Twitter went to Ghana. The lack of awareness of how bad things are in the country, the bloated sense of entitlement, the unhinged expectations that everyone should accept Nigeria's dysfunction. It's incredible," she said. In 2019, Ghana ranked 13 places higher than Nigeria in the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business Index. Google, Microsoft and Huawei are among international tech giants that have expanded their operations in Ghana, targeting software developers and young creatives on the continent. In 2018, Facebook opened its first community hub space in Africa in Nigeria's commercial city, Lagos, while announcing plans last year to open an operational office also in Lagos, but for tech and...
So they're doing the same thing now. These corporations, they already know what's going on. They're doing the same thing they did with Israel. They're making their moves and know where to go to because they ain't know.
investors
Like
such as
parasites.
there are lessons to be learned if Nigeria will continue to attract much needed foreign investment. We have to think carefully about the reasons why Twitter chose Ghana, not necessarily in the context of whether we want to bring Twitter to Nigeria or not, but in the context of what it will take for us to remain a competitive destination for investors. We need to start thinking very carefully about enhancing democracy and the rule of law, freedom of speech, and most importantly, our role in enabling the Africa Free Trade Agreement. It's not enough for us to just be a big market. We have next door to us a very competitive neighbor who's doing all the right things to make itself the hub of West Africa, he added. A more productive market, another Nigerian tech entrepreneur and investor, Bosun Tijani, told CNN that Twitter simply chose a more productive market to run its Africa operations. While Nigeria has a huge market that Twitter would love to target, the business environment here is quite demanding. It's strenuous. The cost of running a business here is high. But with the AFCFTA Single Market Agreement, which Africa is signed up to, a company like Twitter can choose to set up shop in a small market like Ghana. That gives the best opportunity for it to operate and still serve the Nigerian market.
Okay, so you want to watch all of that. It's the name of the video is Twitter, Google, or choosing Ghana over Nigeria. So anybody got any comments?
Yeah, it sounds like business as usual, and I see, if I would like to watch the rest of that, but it looked like to me that the nations on that continent, there's gonna be some upheaval going on there, cause I'm telling you, them people over there, they ain't not feeling being like where they talked about tracking people, where you got to get a SIM card with whatever she said. No, they're not going for that. And they know, they not only that, they got people right there, Africans, that have developed their own cell phones, their own cell phone system, and to get away from being controlled and what I want to say, tracked by the same system that we're caught up, this matrix we're caught up in now.
Right.
I see there's gonna be that continent is gonna rise up.
Yeah, you also got to understand what they got planned gonna get cut off. They think it's business. They think it's business as usual, but most likely gonna cut them off.
Okay, because there's a scripture that said, oh geez, I read it every day. But anyway, it talks about something about that they plan a device they are not able to perform.
Right.
Psalm 20.
Exactly. That's where the trick come in. Everybody thinking it's business as usual, but we already see nothing these people do last forever. The Most High always come in and cut it off.
Right.
So
and I also found out today that Twitter and WhatsApp was bought by Facebook. Did you all know that?
Right.
And did you all know that Firestone is owned by
Bush.
Bridgestone, and Bridgestone is owned by China. But the history of Firestone, the guy that owned Firestone, that was started in Liberia. He got his number from Liberia. Oh, it's some ugly, ugly, ugly history that went on against our people. And there was war. There was war going on. And that's what that war was about. That's why the factions were fighting against each other. It was to try to support the rubber. Some wanted to support the money, I guess, from.
Yeah. Marcus Garvey was a part of that too.
Right. All it is they keep on. They don't want no country to rise up in Africa, and for everybody else to see the capabilities that's there. So they're gonna always denigrate it, cut it down before we get to any point. That's what they did with Black Wall Street. They're gonna always cut it down before it gets to the point where it prospers, where everybody else see it.
Right. And did you know on the Ivory Coast, or there's a lawsuit that's before the Supreme Court right now, where they're using child labor over there for the
Oh
cocoa.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
That I think
Okay.
it's that stuff that's got to do with the cell phone.
No, this one I'm talking about in particular, it just came out on Saturday. It was just
Okay.
about the cocoa.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Question. Leonard, what is the deception of the African free trade?
It's not a deception. It's that's they building a foundation to make money. The bankers doing it.
That's what I'm saying. It's not gonna be in the best interest of the African nation, right?
Yeah, they gonna make money, but what I'm saying is they're gonna make way more money. But they setting it, all they doing is setting up a United States of America. I mean of Africa.
Mm-hmm.
They used that they learned a lot from the United States of America. It was a number of project that they and now it done played itself out. They didn't learn from that. They got a blueprint. And that's why they're taking the same blueprint to Africa. America came into existence from all the resources, including humans, that they got from Africa.
Right.
Now, they're gonna take that same blueprint, take it over there. They ain't got to move nothing. They're gonna get on top of the materials and all the resources, but they don't understand that the Most High gonna cut Lord of Hosts gonna cut that off. But it ain't gonna stop them from not trying to set it up. That's right. They ain't gonna last long. And then it ain't nothing but something for them. It's a way using them to get us back where he want us at.
Well, the Ghana president gave a speech a couple of months ago talking about how the basically Esau's people has made so much money off of the blood, sweat, and the raw materials of Africa, and he said he challenged the other African presidents and their nations to follow the lead. He said he'll lead the way to stop this activity of what they're doing, what they're trying to do right now. He said that's going to stop. He's not going to let it happen. Okay. So how that's going to happen, I'm not sure. They might end up assassinating him or causing a war there or something.
You
they
don't
did.
know.
Say again?
You hit that on the nose. You're going to come on this. Right. That's what's going to happen. Let me answer this question right quick. It says, are there any scriptures proving that Genesis 14 is talking about uncircumcised giants versus circumcised giants? Okay. If you go to Genesis chapter 15, and you're going to see where it says that somebody came in here. Okay, hold up. So you're going to see where in Genesis chapter 15, it says Abraham had his prophecy. Then I'm going to pick it up in chapter 17. I mean, verse 17 of Genesis 15. And it came to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, and behold, a smoking furnace and a burning lamp that passed between the pieces. Then verse 18. In the same day after when he had got this vision, it says in verse 18, in the same day, the Lord made a covenant with Abraham. See that? Saying, unto thy seed have I given this land from the river Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates. Then look at this, 19. The Kenite, the Kezite, the Carmite, whatever, I can't say these names, the Hittite, the Perizzite, the Rephaim, the Amorite, and the Canaanite, and the Girgashite, and the Jebusite. These are all giants. They was given to Abraham. So when Abraham got circumcised, all of them got circumcised with him. That's what brought about circumcised giants and uncircumcised giants. And then when is what the reason why I'm doing part 3 to the Sabbath class lesson about 2 Samuel is this very fact right here. That's what I'm going to deal with in a minute. So that's who David had with him, but they don't want you to know that David had giants with him, but they was uncircumcised. They were circumcised giants, and the Most High changed their countenance. We're gonna deal with all that in a minute. So that's where you get the circumcised giants, uncircumcised giants. The ones that was given that Abraham was given the land, he was given all the inhabitants and everything that dwelt on the land. And they all were subject to Abraham. So when Abraham got circumcised, they got circumcised with him. Let's read over here, chapter 17. And when Abraham was 90 years old and 9, the Lord appeared unto Abraham and said unto him, I am the Almighty God. Walk before me and be thou perfect. And I will make a covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abraham fell on his face. God talked with him, saying, as for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thou shalt be called Abraham. For a father of many nations shall I have made thee, and I will make thee exceedingly fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee, and thy seed after thee in their generation, and an everlasting covenant, to be a God unto thee, and to thy seed after thee. And I will give unto thee, here you go, I will give unto thee and to thy seed after thee the land, that's including everything on it. These 7 nations on the land wherein thou art a stranger, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I will be their God. And God said unto Abraham, thou shalt keep my covenant, therefore, thou and thy seed after thee in their generation. In this, this is my covenant which ye shall keep between me and you, and the seed after thee. Every man child among you shall be circumcised. See that? Every man child among you, that's including giants and everybody that's in the land that Abraham belonged. He's going to tell you that. And ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant between me and you. And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you. Every man child in your generation, he that is born in that house or bought with money or of any stranger, which is not of thy seed. That's just these 7 nations, these giants. They were circumcised too. And so Abraham ain't the first one. Enoch, Jared, all of them was that's who Melchizedek is. You understand who Melchizedek is? It's a title. Enoch was Melchizedek. Shem was Melchizedek.
Let me ask you this real quick, Ford. So these giants were grafted into the Hebrew nation?
Well, you can say that, but he circumcised them. They were circumcised. The sign of the covenant, the sign that he had the covenant with Abraham was on them too. But what that brought about was it brought about 2 types of giants. We had the ones over there, the ones that wasn't circumcised, that didn't fall under the covenant with Abraham. Then you had some that did.
Yeah, but did they follow the laws and stuff? These giants that were circumcised, did they live as Abraham lived?
Yeah, let me give you an example.
Okay.
And they were submitted. They were submitted. They became submitted.
Well, he changed. It wasn't that it wasn't that he changed their countenance.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason David's punishment was so bad, because David disrespected what the Most High had done.
Okay.
So let me read this right quick. We're going to the lesson. So
they were supposed to stay uncircumcised.
Huh?
They were supposed to stay uncircumcised.
No. They fell under. They was given to Abraham when Abraham received the land. He received those 7 nations.
Okay.
And so from that point on, they was being circumcised because they belonged to Abraham.
Okay.
Right? I'm gonna show you that. Let me show you that right quick. What let me get it right quick. So I'm in 2 Samuel chapter 11.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it says, and it came to pass after the year was expired, that the time when the kings go forth to battle, that David sent Joab and his servants with him and all Israel, and they destroyed the children of Ammon and besieged Rabbah, and David tarried there at Jerusalem. And it came to pass in the evening tide that David arose from off his bed and walked upon the roof of the king's house. And from the roof of he saw a woman washing herself, and the woman was very beautiful to look upon. David sent and inquired after the woman, and one said, It is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Elam, the wife of Uriah, the Hittite. See that? Hittite. So he's out of one of those nations. And he's been circumcised, and not only that, Uriah, one of the 33 giants, mighty men that followed David everywhere he go. So then it says 4. And David sent messengers and took her, and she came in on him, and he lied with her, and she was purified from her uncleanness, and she returned unto her house. And the woman conceived and sent and told David and said, I am with child. And David sent to Joab saying, look at this. So he's trying to cover his tracks. Send them to Joab saying, send me Uriah the Hittite. And Joab sent him Uriah. So he went and got Uriah off the battlefield and brought him because he wanted him to go into his wife. And so he can have a reason to say, cover his tracks and say the baby is Uriah baby. So 7. And when Uriah was come unto him, David demanded of him. See that? Look at this. David demanded of him how Joab did and how the people did and how the war prospered. And David said unto Uriah, go down to thy house and wash thy feet. And Uriah departed out of the king's house. Watch this. And there followed him a mess of meat. So he want to give him everything he need to go in there with his wife. So a mess of meat from the king. But Uriah slept. Look at this. But Uriah slept at the door of the king's house. See that? It's a giant. At the king's house with all his servants and his lord. See that? Lord, David. And went not down to his house. And when they had told David, saying Uriah went not down to his house, David said unto Uriah, comest thou not from thy journey? Why then did thou not go down to thine house? And Uriah said unto David, the ark. Look at this. You tell me if you're not the Israelite. The ark, Israel, Judah, abide in tents, and my lord Joab and the servants of my lord David are encamped in the open field. Shall I then go into mine house to eat and to drink and to lie with my wife? As thou livest and as thou soul liveth, I will not do such a thing. See that? So Most High changed their countenance. That's just these men right here made David who he was. Because Most High changed their countenance, and they was subject to David, whatever David said. They way more powerful, way more strong and powerful than him, but the Most High got a spirit on them. So go to 2 Samuel 23. Got it? You got it?
Yeah.
Yes.
So it said, these be the names of the mighty men. See that? So in case you think I'm fumbling with it, these be the names of the mighty men who David had. Then he go Tachmonite that sat in the seat, chief among the captains. The same was Adinu the Ezonite. See that? He lifted up his spear against 800 who had slew at one time. This ain't no regular. See that? He killed 800 men at one time. Come on. See, and after him was Eleazar, the son of Dedu, or notice how they got the ITE on the end of their name. They tell you they giants. One of the three mighty men with David. See, they with David. When they defiled the Philistines that were there gathered together to battle, and the men of Israel were gone away. And he arose and smote the Philistines until look at this, till his hand was weary, and his hands clave unto the sword. And the Lord wrought, look at this, the Lord wrought a great victory that day, and the people returned after him only to the spoils. And after him was Shema 8, so you can read all that. He's telling you all the mighty men and what they capable, the things they've done. They giants. So then you get to 2 Samuel 23 and 39. There he is, Uriah. Uriah the Hittite. He's one of them. And so the whole story behind David and David's life and David's trials is what he done to Uriah. and everybody fumbling with that.
That shows the power of marriage. You can't disrupt it. I don't care who you are.
Right. Exactly. Ain't that something?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anybody got anything on that?
Yeah. Did the Lord allow the presence of the giants with David and Abraham as a part of why the other nations were afraid of them? I mean, I know they were afraid of them because of the Lord of hosts, but did the Lord use the giants to ensure some of David's victories?
Yeah, they ensured all David's victories.
Okay.
They was with David wherever he went. When Saul was trying to kill him, that's who you know, like I was saying, let's see when the light is shining on this, two things happen. First of all, you gonna say, well, these clowns ain't told us, they ain't tell me nothing about this. And
right.
Then you get everything start making sense. So I'm in 1 Samuel. Okay. Like I said, remember David kills Goliath.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
So how did these giants come about?
They came about with the angel sleeping with the angels sleeping with regular women, divine creatures, eternal creatures.
So, yeah. So the creator created Adam and Adam's descendants, right?
Right.
That's the people he's dealing with. Well, who gonna be their enemies?
Those people that were created by the enemy of the giants.
Right, these giants. That's their enemies. That's the enemy. That's the people that's trying to destroy God's creation. And so he said when he brought the flood, that's what he was trying to kill. Get rid of them because they had overcame his creation so bad it was only Noah and Shem left from Adam. So he brought the flood to kill them. So yeah. So anyway, let me get this right here. What I'm looking for this story with that David and Abigail. Because it don't make no sense if you don't understand what's going on. You ain't gonna understand what you just gonna go over your head. So yeah, here you go. Yeah, so what happened was Saul trying to kill David, and David avoiding him. David can kill him, but David don't. He knows that Saul was the Most High dealing with Saul. It ain't none of his business to do anything to Saul. He just staying out of Saul's way until the Most High do whatever he's gonna do with him. So in the process of him avoiding Saul, he ended up over here with this guy named Nabal. And then it says, I'm in chapter 25 of 1 Samuel. It says there was a man in Maon whose possessions were in Carmel, and the man was very great, and he had 3,000 sheep and 1,000 goats, and he was shearing sheep in Carmel. Now the name of the man was Nabal, and the name of his wife was Abigail, and she was a woman of good understanding and of beautiful countenance. But the man was churlish and evil in his doings, and he was of the house of Caleb. So what happened was David got these mighty men with him, and he got all these sheep. And David was, if you understand David's childhood, he was a shepherd. So David came with these mighty men and hiding up in these caves where all his possessions was at. David lined all his possessions out. He got all the sheep in right. He lined all the sheep up, got everything right, killed off all the bad or whatever was trying to kill his sheep. And then he sent to some of his men to go tell Nabal to send him some provisions because he had lined everything out for him, but this dude refused to do it. And that's why David was ticked off. He was coming to destroy his house.
Right.
But nobody understands what's going on because they don't understand who they are and what's going on with David. Because David got mighty men with him. So he was on his way over there to destroy the guy's house. But David was able to do all the things he did because he got Most High surrounded him with these giants and mighty men that he didn't put a spirit on them to be submissive to David. So with that being said, I want to properly go into this. So I had 2 Samuel. I dealt with some chapters out of 2 Samuel on the Sabbath, on the morning Sabbath. I came back and we dealt with some more out of 2 Samuel in the evening Sabbath class. And so I'm opening up right now for questions. Any questions from anything or videos that we watched on Prophets of Awakening during that time period or before that you got any questions about? And then I'm gonna go into breaking down 2 Samuel or some high points. Then I'm gonna close out. So anybody got any questions from the weekend? Something that was said. Okay. I don't have anything.
Leonard, just real quick, what was your purpose in breaking down 2 Samuel?
It's David. Nobody knows that David is Messiah, and then they don't understand that the foundation of Israel as a nation is centered around David. He's the Messiah. He's Most High got a covenant with him that his house, he protecting the whole thing about this. The Old Testament is he protecting David's house. David's kingdom, and David is the Messiah. And so, like I was saying, is when you understand what's going on with him, then you see why he's the Messiah. So if these Nephilim and these fallen angels is the enemy of the Most High people, then the Most High Messiah is gonna be the one killing them, right? Is Jesus killing the giants?
No.
Okay. So let's look at it. So starting out in Psalms 83. The reason why we're in the predicament we in is Psalms 83 tell us that, and we're gonna see that once I read it. Psalms 83 says 89. Psalms 89. My bad. Psalms 89, verse 3 says he's telling you, he's giving you something that's gonna happen in the future pertaining to David. So verse 89:3 said, Psalms 89, verse 3 says that I have made a covenant with my chosen. I have sworn unto David my servant. So he's telling you right here, I made a covenant with my chosen, and then he says, I have sworn unto David my servant. So the chosen one, which is another synonym for Messiah, anointed one, is David. And he got a covenant with him. And we already been over that. That's in chapter 7. That his house, David's house, he's gonna protect it. Let me read it. Let me go to it. Okay. So I'm in chapter 7. And he says, verse 17, 2 Samuel 7:17, according to all these words and according to all this vision, so did Nathan speak unto David. Then went King David in and sat before the Lord, and he said, who am I, O Lord, and what is my house? See that? David's house, his family, his lineage, that thou hast brought me here to. And this was yet a small thing in the sight of the Lord God, but thou hast chosen also thy servant's house. See that? And all the kings that sit on the throne in Israel come out of David's lineage. So that's his house for a great while to come. And this is the manner of a man. And then it says, what can David say more unto thee? For thou, Lord God, knowest thy servant. For thy words say, and according to thine own heart, hast thou done all these great things to make thy servant know them. So what he made him know is that he chose him. He the one he chose, and he's gonna protect over his house. After David passed, he gonna protect David's house. He gonna make sure David house stay established, and David stays his kingdom stay intact. Because he's gonna keep a son from David lineage on the throne. So
question.
What you got?
You just said that all of the kings that come to the throne are from David's lineage. That includes whether they're wicked or not.
Right. Yeah, all wicked, but the covenant he got is he gonna always bring a righteous one to the throne.
Okay.
There's gonna be some wicked ones that take them away from the Lord of hosts, but then he's gonna bring a righteous one like unto David, and he's gonna bring them back. That's
But every king is out of David's loin. I mean,
right. In Judah.
Wow. Okay.
That's David's house. David's house. So that's why when you see what he talked when you see what he's telling, the covenant he got with David, he says in 27. But thou, O Lord, David talking, but thou, O Lord of hosts, God of heaven, has revealed to thy servant, saying, I will build thee a house. See that?
Mm-hmm.
It ain't David building him a house, he building David a house.
Mm.
See that?
Mm-hmm.
Therefore have thy servant found in his heart to pray this prayer unto thee. And now, O Lord God, thou art that God, and thy words be true, and thou hast promised this goodness unto thy servant. Therefore now let it please thee to bless the house of thy servant. See that? That it may continue forever.
Wow.
See that? For thou, O Lord God, hast spoken it, and with thy blessings, the Lord, let thine house of thy servant be blessed forever. That's David's house. And it's David's house is over the kingdom of David's kingdom. It's David's house, that's the kingdom over Israel. And the Lord of hosts is protecting it.
And is it also David's throne, no matter what king is on it, is his throne because he's gonna eventually come back to it.
Right, exactly. So when I read Isaiah 89:3 says, I have made a covenant with my chosen, I have sworn unto David or my servant. I just showed you that. So then they tell us that Psalm 34 to 52, it says, 34 says, my covenant, here you go, my covenant will I not break. So I just told you what the covenant was, that David's house is going, and his kingdom is going to last forever. My covenant will I not break nor alter, the thing that has gone out of my lips. Once I have sworn by my holiness that I will not lie unto David. His seed shall endure forever, and his throne, see that? His house and his throne as the sun before me. It shall be established forever as the moon and as a faithful witness in heaven. Selah. But thou hast cast off. Now this is what they done. But thou hast cast off and abhorred. Thou hast been wroth with thine anointing. See that? They came in and they denigrated that when they came with JC. So they denigrated. Thou hast made void. See that? Esau that came in and made void the covenant of a servant. Thou hast profaned his crown by casting it to the ground. Thou hast broken down all his hedges. Thou hast brought his stronghold to ruins. All that pass by the way spoil him. He is an approach to his neighbor. Thou hast set up the right hand of the adversary. That's Esau. That's who the four beasts is. That's who the Roman Catholic Church is, Esau. Thou hast made all his enemies to rejoice. Thou hast also turned the edge of his sword and hast not made him to stand in battle. That's where I'm going, right there. They turn the edge of his sword, but he can't fight in battle. So how did they do that? What I'm showing you now, David had mighty men all around him. David was a mighty man. They didn't denigrated that. They didn't turn it to, well, you don't see none of that. So with that being said, so I'm gonna go through. I want to deal with this right here first. It says 2 Samuel 20 and 23. I'm gonna read that right quick. 2 Samuel 20, 23. So it says, now Joab was over all the hosts of Israel, and there we go with the conjunction. Joab is the Lord of hosts over all of the hosts of Israel, and Benaiah was over, son of Jediah, was over the Cherites and the Peleites, right? So who is these people? Let's go look at it. Okay. So here we go right here. Say you want to know who those people are? Those Cherethites, and this is. So it said right here, the Cherethites were executioners. That word means executioners. They appear 9 times in the King James Bible, and these. I'm not saying these names right. The Peleites are couriers or messengers, right? So just like with us today, with the United States government, special forces. That's what they are. They like special forces. You can't play with them. They ain't nothing to be played with. So let's keep going. Okay. Get over here. Okay. Okay. So it say right here that it says in the Bible the Cherethites and the Peleites are formerly also spelled Karaites, are 2 ethnic groups in the Levant. The Levant is that area over there in the Middle East, over there in where what's going on now with the Palestine and Israel and all that. That's called the Levant. Their identity has not been determined as of certainty. The Cherethites are mentioned independently 3 times, and as for Cherethites and Peleites 7 times. They are interpreted to have been a group of elite mercenaries employed by King David, whom acted as his bodyguards and others as part of his army, right? And then it says the Masoretic version of the book of Ezekiel, a group refers to as the children of the land of League, or stated as being allies of Egypt. So we know right here what happened in Egypt. That's where the 200 angels came down there, and they start sleeping with women in Egypt. The Egyptian is the giants. Mezarine says, but in the Septuagint, a version of the same passage, the group are described instead as the children of the Cherethites. Scholars believe that this is a reference to an alliance of the Philistines. So you say, what are you talking about? David conquered the Philistines. And some of those Philistines submitted to David, just like they submitted to Abraham, right? Say rather than a subgroup, the Targum or the Saronic, the setter regarding the phrase as a appellative, rendered it a bowman or a slinger. So anyway, you get on down here and you find out that Septuagint translates the Cherethites as Cretans, where it occurs in the writings of the literary prophet, paralleling an ancient tradition that the origin of people living in the Roman Palestine, which were named after the Philistines. So they are a subgroup of the Philistines and also come from Crete. The latter tradition is connected to which concerns whether the Philistines originated at Kaffa, and ambiguous location that most modern scholars have believed probably identical to Crete. So let's look at that right quick. I'm in Deuteronomy chapter 2. Deuteronomy chapter 2, verse 22. 2 and 22, Deuteronomy. And he did as he did to the children of Esau, which dwelt at Seir, when he destroyed the Horim. See that, them giants, from these giants all over the place before them, and they succeeded them and dwelt in their stead, even in this place. And Avram, which dwelt at Hazerim, even unto Azarah, the Capitan, which came forth out of Captor, destroyed them. That's what it just mentioned. So this is a race of giants. But what happened was when David became king, and when David was running from Saul, was running all the place, he became familiar with these people and came and lead with them. And they Most High was causing these people to get to know David, and they submitted to him. So he got 33 mighty men that follow him everywhere he go. He got these two groups of giants right here following him everywhere he go. But we don't know that. So like it said in Psalms 89, they done turned his sword to the ground and made it where he don't fight in battle. They denigrated the power and the might and what the power that David was wielding around. So now I want to go into something else. I'm gonna come back to that, but I'm just, like I said, I'm trying to hit these high points because we don't looking at it from this perspective. So it says that in 2 Samuel 15, 2 Samuel 15, let me get over there right quick. This, like I said before, these things happening to us because the Most High laws don't change. They happening to us, but we ain't figured out why they happening. So I'm in 2 Samuel 15 and 8. Let me see. 2 Samuel. Let me see. Let me see. Yeah, let me look at 15:8 right quick. So it says, getting ahead of myself. So it says, let me go to 2 Samuel 11. 2 Samuel 11 says, this the curse that the Most High put on David when David did what he did with Bathsheba. So I'm in 2 Samuel 11 and 1-4 says, and it came to pass after the year expired. And it came to pass after the year had expired, at the time when the king go forth to battle, that David sent Joab and his servant with him and all Israel, and they destroyed the children of Ammon and besieged Rabbah. And David tarried still at Jerusalem. And it came to pass in an evening tide, David arose from off his bed, walked upon the roof of the king's house, and from the top of the roof, remember this right here, he walked upon the roof of the king's house, and from the roof he saw a woman washing herself, and the woman was very beautiful to look upon. David sent and inquired after the woman, and one said, is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Elam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite? So that was a sign right there for him to back off. Before David sent messengers and took her, and she came in unto him, and he lied with her, and she was purified from her uncleanness, and she returned unto her house. Right. So all this happened on top of the rooftop. So Most High comes and he cursed David in chapter 12, verse 10. It says, now, therefore, the sword shall never depart from thine house, because thou hast despised me, and hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. Thus says the Lord, behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thine own house, and I will take thy wives. Look at this. So David was on top of the rooftop now. This is what we got to get in our head. He's on the rooftop. When he saw the woman, he went and inquired of her. So it says, thus says the Lord, behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thine own house, and I will take thy wives before thine eyes, and give them unto the neighbor, and he shall lie with thy wives in the sight of the sun. This son, for thou didst it secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel and before the sun, right? So now I'm going to go to 2 Samuel 16:21. 2 Samuel 16:21. So he told Daniel that was a prophecy. He prophesied David told him, you was on top of the rooftop and laid with Uriah's wife, and then you done it in secret, but I'm gonna have somebody, your neighbor, come and sleep with your wife, but it's gonna be wide out in the open. So we in 16 and I'm in 21. It says that Absalom came into Jerusalem. He ran David out of Jerusalem. And he come into Jerusalem and says, and Amasa said unto Absalom, go in unto thy father's concubines, which he had left to keep the house. And all Israel shall hear that thou art abhorred of thy father. Then shall the hands of all that are with thee be strong, right? Now watch what 22 say. Look at this. They spread Absalom a tent upon the top of the house. Come on. He ain't playing with you. And Absalom went into his father's concubines in the sight of all Israel, and the counsel of Amasa, which he counseled in those days, was as if a man had inquired at the oracle of God. So was all the counsel of Amasa, both with David and with Absalom. So we see he was precise. David was on the housetop. When Absalom came in there and slept with his 10 concubines, they set a tent up on top of the house. Come on. This was the Most High dealing with the Lord of hosts, because he don't miss a beat. He precise. Right. That's what David telling us. He know not to turn to the left or to the right. Whatever he said, do it all the way down to the T. Right. Come on.
So the very way in which David fell, it came back on him through his son.
Right back on his son, and then the Lord of hosts behind.
Wow.
Right. So okay. Now we so I'm in 2 Samuel, back to the mighty man thing. About who David is. They turn his sword to the ground, where he don't look like no mighty man. He ain't, you don't see him as being no Messiah. So 2 Samuel 17. I'm in 11, read 11. Let's see. 11 and 12. It says, I'm gonna start at 10. And he also, that is okay. What's going on is David had been ran out of Jerusalem by Absalom, but Absalom don't know where David is. They're trying to find David because they want to find him and kill him because they know what he's capable of. So this guy right here, Alanthal, was his number one counselor. So Absalom asked him, what should he do? So I'm gonna pick it up right here, verse 9, and he's 2 Samuel 17:9. Behold, he is hid now in some pit or in some other place, and it will come to pass when some of them be overthrown at the first, that whosoever heareth it will say, there is a slaughter among the people that follow Absalom. And he also that is valiant, whose heart is at the heart of a lion, shall utterly melt. For all Israel knoweth, look at this, for all Israel knoweth that thy father is a mighty man, and they which be with him are valiant men. Therefore I counsel that all Israel be generally gathered unto thee, from Dan even to Beersheba, as a saying that is by the sea for a multitude, and that thou go to battle in thy own person. So shall we come upon him in some place where he shall be found, and we will light upon him as dew falls on the ground, and of all the men that are with him, there shall not be left in as much as one. So almost I was telling them, you better find him, hurry up and find him, because you already know what he capable of. You know what he got with him. So whatever you're gonna do, you better hurry up and do it before he catch his snap.
Question.
What's that?
I think you use the terminology mighty men to refer to those giants, right?
Right.
But you also use it to refer to David. Now, David is not a giant, right?
No, he ain't a giant, but he got the same characteristics as the mighty men. They go back to Go back to chapter 6 in Genesis.
He has the capability and power as if he's a giant.
Right. And then he's controlling them.
And is that
if they mighty men, he controlling them, he a mighty man.
Okay.
Yeah, so it says, let me see, here you go. I tore this Bible to pieces. So it says, chapter 6, verse 4. There were giants in the earth in those days, also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, right? And, and they bore children unto them, right? The same became mighty men, which were of old men of renown. So they got a name. They got a name for being dangerous.
Okay.
See that? So then, so we go over here to 2 Samuel 7, where I was at. When I started at 2 Samuel 7, and it says, this is the Lord of hosts talking to David, verse 9, verse 8, 2 Samuel 7 and 8. Now therefore shalt thou say unto my servant David, thus says the Lord of hosts, I took thee from the sheepcote, from following the sheep, to be ruler over my people Israel. And I was with thee wheresoever thou wentest, and I have cut off all thy enemies out of thy sight, and I have made thee a great name. See it? Back into the name of great men that are on earth, mighty men.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. I'm into 2 Samuel 18. So I'm in 2 Samuel 18 and 24. I'm just opening. I'm just showing you because there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in there, and we ain't paying attention to it. So 18 says, this is after Absalom got killed. Joab had killed him, and so it says, verse 24. David sat between the two gates, and the watchman went up to the roof over the gate unto the wall, and lifted his eyes up and looked, and behold, a man came running. So when it says that David sat between the two gates, what are you talking about? Man, let me get this over here.
David is in the temple, ain't he? He said between the two gates.
Right, two gates. So let's go to Isaiah 45.
Okay.
45 and 1. You got it?
Yeah.
Thus says the Lord to his anointed, to Cyrus, whose right hand I have holden, to subdue nations before him, and I will loose the loins of kings, to open before him the two-leaved gates, and the gates shall be open. So that's the gates to enter into Jerusalem.
Okay.
So that's what David is. See that? Go back to 24. David sat between the two gates, and the watchman went up to the roof over the gate unto the wall, and he lifted up his eyes and looked. So that's where he had two-leaved gates. Now he goes another example. So I'm saying this because this ain't registering. So so now I'm going to go over here with Absalom. Okay. Absalom, chapter 15. You there?
Got it.
2 Samuel 15.
Yeah.
And it came to pass after this that Absalom prepared him chariots and horses and 50 men. So he revolted against David. And so and 50 men to run before him. And Absalom rose up early in the morning, stood beside the way of the gate. And it was so that when any man that had a controversy came to the king for judgment, then Absalom called unto him and said, Oh, what city art thou? And he said, the servant is of the tribe of Israel. See that? So he at the gate. If he's sitting at these two gates, everybody that's coming to see David, he cutting them off. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So.
And he has watched his father closely. So he know how to, he know how to mimic being a king, but he don't have that inner. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like David. David was chosen, and Absalom is just acting.
Right. But he the king's son, so all he doing is emulating his dad.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I mean 2 Samuel 19 and 14. Like I said, I'm just pulling out some high points. So it says, this says, this when David had Joab had killed Absalom, and David was all discombobulated. So I'm in 19 and 1, and it was told Joab, behold, the king weeping and mourning for Absalom, and the victory that day was turned into mourning unto all the people, for the people heard say that that day how the king was grieved for his son, and the people had him by still that day into the city, as the people being ashamed still away when they flee in the battle. The king covered his face, and the king cried with a loud voice, oh my son, Absalom, my son, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me get it. I'm in 19 and 14. So then it says, we'll pick it up in 11. And King David sent to Zadok and Abiathar the priest, saying, speak unto the elders of Judah, saying, why are ye the last to bring the king back to his house, seeing the speech of all Israel is coming to the king, even to his house? Ye are my brethren, and ye are my bones and my flesh. Wherefore then are ye last to bring back the king, and say unto Amasa, or thou not my bones and to my and my flesh? God do so to me, and more also, thou be not captain of the host before me continuously in the room of Joab. Now 14, and he bowed the heart of all the men. Look at this. He bowed the heart of all the men of Judah, right? All the men of Judah, even as the heart of one man. See that?
What does that mean, Leonard?
And it's a man named Judah.
Right.
The father of the tribe of Judah.
Right.
So all the men of Judah is one man.
Okay.
So Jacob, you got a man called Jacob. His name was changed to Israel. You got a nation called Israel. 12 sons. All the men that's in Israel is Jacob.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
That's the womb that's under us now. We ain't operating like that.
Okay.
But they operated like that back then. So we says when David just been restored, they didn't kill Absalom. So now all the men of Judah came and bowed themselves as one man to David.
Okay. Mm-hmm. No division.
No division, right.
It was a unity in spirit and actions.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So now this is where I want to go right here. I mean, 2 Samuel, this part where I'm telling you, they turned David's sword to the ground and made it where he didn't stand in battle. So 2 Samuel 19, 2 Samuel 19 and verse 19 says, and he said unto the king, talking to David, right? Let not my Lord impute iniquity unto me. See that? Anybody getting that?
So he talking to the Lord of hosts.
No. I'm trying to show you something. So he says, and he said unto the king, talking to David, let not my Lord. See that? That's a lowercase L.
Who's speaking?
That's let me see. That's the guy in 13, Amashia.
Okay.
Oh no, Shema, right here, 18.
Shema speaking to David.
Right. And he said, this guy was throwing rocks at David.
Okay.
He's out of the tribe of Benjamin, and they think that David killed Saul.
Okay.
And the kingship was in the tribe of Benjamin at first. The tribe of Benjamin got a problem with David. Some of them do. So this guy right here, when Absalom came, let's look at it.
He supported Absalom.
Well, they all wanted, they all expected the Most High to restore the kingdom back to Benjamites, back to Saul. So I'm in chapter 16, verse 5. Got it?
Yes.
When King David came to Baram, he running from Absalom. Behold, this came out a man out of the family of the house of Saul. See that? His name was Shema, the son of Gedor, and he came forth cursed still as he came, and he cast stones at David.
I was about to say he the one threw rocks at him.
Right, and he kept all the servants of David and all the people and all the mighty men. See that? Just to show you how something ain't right with him. He says, and all the people and all the mighty men were on his right hand and on his left. He got all these giants around him. And this clown throwing rocks at him. So you know something ain't right with him. But anyway, we're gonna come back to that in a minute. So, so this guy said in verse 19, he said unto the king, talking to David, let not my Lord impute iniquity unto me. Neither do thou remember that which his servant did perversely the day that my Lord the king went out of Jerusalem, that the king should take it to his heart. See that? So what are we looking at? He told us that the Lord of hosts said David is a man after my own heart.
Yes.
So that's what I'm trying to say. That's what people are understanding what's going on. When David's standing there, Michael's standing there. David's standing in Michael's authority. When Michael's standing there, Michael's standing in Yahweh's authority.
Yes.
So that's why you got to figure out what Lord you dealing with. You got to figure that out. And they got lowercase right here. They telling you what's up.
Okay.
But she was telling that David, don't impute sin on me. You would think that it's only Michael that can do that.
Okay.
See what he say? He said unto the king, let not my Lord impute iniquity unto me. See that?
Right. Like go easy on me, you know?
So let's look at it, because he say, what you talking about? I'm in chapter 11 of Isaiah.
That's why you're saying they denigrated and they turned his sword to the ground, because they have taken away, his power, his authority.
And put it on JC. So I'm in chapter 11 of Isaiah. He just told David, let not my Lord impute iniquity on me, right?
Right.
So I'm in chapter 11, verse 1. There shall come forth a rod out of steel majestic. That's David, ain't it?
Yes.
And a branch shall go out of his root. Now look what he's going to do. The spirit of the Lord shall be rest upon him. The spirit of wisdom and understanding. The spirit of counsel and might. The spirit of knowledge and fear of the Lord. And he shall make him of quick understanding. And he shall not judge. See that?
Wow. Yeah.
To the sight of his eyes, neither reprove by the hearing of his ears, but with righteousness shall he before and reprove iniquity. See, now the scripture became alive.
Yes. Yes.
We've been following with it.
Yeah, that dude don't want no iniquity. He want David to impute righteousness.
David willing all this. They don't want you to know that. So anyway, so 2 Samuel 19 and 37, same chapter, says, let thy servants, I pray thee, turn back again, that I may die in mine own city and be buried by the grove of my father and of my mother, but hold thy servant Chichon, let him go over with my Lord. See that? So this man right here, David went to his house and hid out of his house until they got rid of Absalom. And so this old man, he like 80 years old, but he was a warrior back in the day. Him and David know each other. So now they coming back across the Jordan. And David wanted him to stay with him and eat at his table till he died. And he said he want to die in his own name. But take this other man with you, this man right here. See, Chicham, whatever. Say, take him with you. Let him go over with my Lord. See that?
Yeah.
Lowercase. This is what everybody fumbling with. He said, let him go over with my Lord. See what I'm saying? So when you read, they fumble with this understanding when he said, the Lord said to my Lord. So it's man like this guy right here. He said, the Lord, Michael said to my Lord.
Mm-hmm.
David. See that?
Yes.
He said, let him go over with my Lord.
Yeah.
David is Lord.
That's right.
Michael is David Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
And Yahweh is Michael's Lord.
Right. He says, it's my Lord. See that? My Lord, lowercase the king.
Okay.
Do to him what seemed good unto thee. And the king answered Chichon, okay, I ain't saying his name right, shall go over with me, and I will do to him that which shall seem good unto thee, and whatsoever thou shalt require of me, that will I do for thee. See that?
Yes.
All
Yes.
the people went over to Jordan, and when the king was come over, the king kissed this is the guy I'm talking about, Barzillai, and blessed him, and he returned unto his own place. See that? So I'm trying to show you the order of things. It says in so
David is right underneath the Lord of hosts.
Right. He all his rights. He's all his rights, Lord.
Okay.
Right. So I'm in 20 and 6 says, and David said unto Abishai, now shall Sheba the son of Berechiah do us more harm than did Absalom. Take thou, look at this, take thou now thy Lord's servants, pursue after him, lest he get him fenced cities and escape. So who is the Lord's servants?
Those mighty men.
There you go. He said, take these men, take my men.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? I'm your Lord. Take these men with you and go and knock this dude off.
Okay. Right.
But we fumbling with this, but it's right there in our face. So anyway, so with that being said, going back to where the brother was talking about the uncircumcised giants and all that, 2 Samuel 19 and let me see. No, it ain't 19. Oh yeah, we check 2 Samuel 19, 21 and 22.
Okay, 2 Samuel
19, 21 and 22. So what's going on is, I told you these mighty men, these giants, they don't have nothing to do. They have by right, really, they don't have nothing to do with Israel, right?
Right.
So this is a situation. I'm picking up in verse 20. For thy servant do know that I have seen. This is the guy Shema talking to. He the one that was throwing the rocks in front of those giants, throwing them at David in front of those mighty men. And so, for thy servant doeth know that I have seen. This is the guy. He apologizing to David. Therefore, I am come the first this day of all the house of Joseph to go down to meet my Lord. They go to the Lord again, the king. But Abishai, the son of Zekiah, answered and said, shall not Shimei be put to death for this because he cursed the Lord? See, now you see
the Lord.
The big case, lowercase, capital L. So now that I cursed the Lord's anointed. But watch what David telling. This is how we know they giants. 22. And David said, what have I to do with you? You ain't got nothing to do with me. You a giant. What you talking about? Excuse me. So he says, ye sons of Zariah, see that? That you should this day be adversaries unto me. Shall there any man be put to death this day in Israel? For do not I know that I am this day king over Israel?
Yes. Yes.
He's a mighty man he's talking to. Come on. So let's got one more place. Let me get it. Excuse me. 2 Samuel 16. And 5 through 11. This is the same guy. This one he was throwing the rocks at him. So it says, and when King David came to Berechiah, behold, thence came out a man of the family of the house of Saul, whose name was Shema, son of Gior, and he came forth and cursed still as he came, and he cast stones at David, and at all the servants of the king David, and all the people and all the mighty men were on the right hand and on the left. And thus said Shema when he cursed, come out, thou bloody man, and thou man of Belial, and the Lord have returned upon thee all the blood of the house of Saul, in whose stead thou hast reigned. and the Lord have delivered the kingdom into the hands of Absalom, thy son, right? And behold, thou art taken in thy mischief, because thou art a bloody man, right? So, okay, we see over and over again, David got a wisdom and insight, right?
Right.
Do we need anybody to speak for him?
Don't need no one.
So this dude talking all this mess. Now in verse 8, the Lord have returned upon thee all the blood of the house of Saul, in whose stead thou hast reigned, and the Lord hath delivered the kingdom into the hands of Absalom thy son, and behold, thou art taken in thy mischief, because thou art bloody. Then look at this, same guy, same giant as before. Then said Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, unto the king, why should this dead dog curse my lord the king? Let me go over, I pray thee, and take off his head. Look at 10. And the king said, what have I to do with you? Look at this. He's telling Abishai this. And the king said, what have I to do with you? See that?
Right.
Ye son of Zeruiah, so let him curse, because the Lord have said unto him, curse David. See that?
Yeah.
So this is a huge lesson. Who shall then say, why hast thou done so? And David said unto Abishai and unto all his servants, these giants, behold, my son, which come forth of my bowels, seeketh my life. How much more so may this Benjamite do it? Let him alone and let him curse, for the Lord have bidden him.
Come on now.
See that?
Yes.
See, you can come up missing by your mouth.
Right.
You come up missing.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
David realized.
Right.
David realized this is the doing of the Lord of hosts.
Right, exactly. And if they was paying attention, they would know David sensed all that.
Yeah.
And kept their mouth shut.
So Leonard, in your own words, what does David being a man after God's own heart, does that play a part here with him recognizing that this was the Lord of hosts doing? What does it mean that he's a man after God's heart?
Okay, well, one Solomon wise?
Yes.
How? Why was he wise?
Solomon was wise because he watched his father.
Right. He's in the presence of David.
Mm-hmm.
Why David wise?
In the presence of the Lord of hosts.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
You just saw where he going in there talking to him. That's what we from with.
Each one had a mentor.
Right. How you gonna go wrong when you got somebody on the caliber of David you dealing with on a daily basis?
Mm-hmm.
It's like David. How you gonna go wrong on a daily basis? He dealing with the Lord of hosts.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did this Sherman, whatever his name is, when he was throwing them rocks, was he before he started throwing? Was he aware of who he was throwing them at?
Oh yeah. They all
really knew who he was throwing it at.
Right. This is the thing I'm saying about stuff going on in the scriptures that you in no way you can comprehend it if you don't know the whole what's going on. So the tribe of Benjamin got a problem with David because of Saul died. Saul was from the tribe of Benjamin.
Mm-hmm.
The kingdom Israel was being directed by the Benjamites when Saul was there.
Right.
But when David came, it went to Judah. So Benjamin got a problem with David being ruling. They think that David usurped the throne from Saul.
Yeah, and it's all the Lord of hosts doing.
Right. The Lord of hosts took the throne from Saul and put it in the house of Judah.
Mm-hmm.
But let's look at that, because I did this before, but I'm gonna do it again right now. So I'm in Numbers, chapter 24. This before Saul even came on the scene, and you know, like I said, we ain't reading it right. So I'm in 24, number 24, verse 15. You got 24 and 15 of Numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a prophecy that Balaam prophesied, and this Israel coming out of they're in the wilderness. They're coming out of Egypt. They ain't become a nation yet. So he says, he took up his parable and said, Balaam, the son of Beor, has said, and the man whose eyes are open have said, he have said, which heard the words of God and knew the knowledge of the Most High, which saw in a vision, see that, of the Almighty, falling into a trance but having his eyes open. I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not nay. There shall come a star out of Judah, and a scepter shall rise out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel, and he shall smite the corners of Moab, destroy all the children of Seth, and Edom shall become a possession. Seir also shall be a possession for his enemies, and Israel shall do valiantly. That's David.
Mm-hmm.
So we already telling you right here, he's coming out of Judah.
Right.
So why did he come out of Benjamin? The people chose Saul.
The people chose him, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Then when the Lord host got fed up with him, he told Samuel, go down to Jesse's house, and I got an anointed one down there, my anointed.
Exactly.
My Messiah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Question.
So anyway, go ahead.
You keep using the word mighty men. Are we and you have helped us to understand those mighty men are those giants that commingled with, they are a result of those eternal beings commingling with natural women. Okay. Are these the size giants that built the pyramids toting 2 stones on their shoulder?
No, they got, that's why I say the ITT. If you go to Genesis chapter 10.
Okay.
Genesis chapter 10, starting at verse 13. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Say Mesarine begot Ludim, right? So who is Mesarine?
He's a giant.
But who is he? Go to Genesis chapter 10, verse 6.
He's one of the fallen 200.
No. Look at Genesis, look at chapter 10, verse 6.
Okay.
In verse 6.
Right. What did it say? Sons of Ham, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ham got 4 sons. Cush, Mesarine.
Okay.
So Ham got he got Cush, Mesarine, Put, and Canaan. So when you see Mesarine, automatically it's a giant. So what happened? It's an angel came down in Ham lineage.
Okay.
So that directly connects you with the 200. They came from Mount Hermon and came to Egypt.
Okay.
And so then go to 13. You in chapter 13, you in verse 13?
Yeah.
Mesarine begot Ludim. So Mesarine the one that started it. Mesarine begot Ludim all the way down to 20. Them giants.
Okay.
See, you get to verse 16, you got the ites. I-T-E. See that? Amorite. Gervishite. That's the 7 nations that was in the land of Canaan. They smaller because of God sent the 7 angels and told them, bind up the fallen angels that slept with the people and bind them up so they ain't as tall.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
They
the further
they started generating size because the source wasn't there. The original source wasn't there for them to be the heights they was at the beginning.
Okay.
To now, today people pretty much out height, but they got the same characteristics as the giants had.
Okay.
Wicked as hell, they're like the giants, but the height been taken away because he bound up the ones that brought about the giant.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay. They were still, bigger than the average man, but they was not that original size.
No, they weren't as big as the original ones. And that goes back to the story of the Greeks about the Titans and all that. That's what all they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Original giants that came forth when the giant, from those angels 200 came down, was bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, with that being said, anybody got anything else? Because we are 220.
Okay.
Anybody else got any questions, anything before we go?
So, Lena, have you basically shared with us at this point? We should have an understanding of why David has been denigrated or how they denigrated David.
Say it again.
You're sharing with us who David is and who he is in relationship to the Lord of hosts, and how they have taken the character of David and put it on Jesus. So you're sharing with us tonight gives us evidence that David was a mighty man, not so much in stature, but in his position to the Lord of hosts.
Right, and he's the Messiah, and we can't, you can't see that because of it denigrated the actual events and the actual setting that happened, the way it really happened. We don't see it. We read past it, reading over it, but you know, and that's why nobody can when you say David is a Messiah, they can't comprehend that.
Right.
They don't see the story been tainted.
Mm-hmm.
As far as who he was and as far as what was going on when he existed. Like I said, first thing out the gate, he killed Goliath.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. So yeah. Then so that's all he's doing all over the place.
And so, Leonard, would you say that I know that you have given us multiple pieces of evidence of who David is, but when we think about David as the Messiah, is the most compelling evidence that the Lord sent the prophet to anoint him?
Right. That's what Messiah means. He says, and you have to go back to, like I said, we're not reading what's there, what's on the scripture. So you go to 1 Samuel 16. Yeah, go to chapter 16, verse 11. It says, and Samuel said unto Jesse, are here all thy children? And he said, there remaineth yet the youngest, and behold, he keepeth sheep. Mm-hmm. Samuel said unto Jesse, send and fetch him, for we will not sit down till he come hither. And he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy and withal of beautiful countenance, and goodly looked to. And the Lord, see that? And the Lord said, arise, anoint him, for this is he. Mm-hmm. See that? Mm-hmm. Then he took the horn of oil, anointed him in the midst of his brethren, and the Spirit of the Lord came upon David from that day forward. So Samuel rose up and went to Ramah.
Right. So okay.
Said, this is him. This is him. What are you talking about? This is the one that Balaam talked about that was coming.
Mm-hmm.
And he anointed him, and then they didn't throw you off on what anointed means.
Right.
Right.
Right. You can't just say the word like say, oh, Jesus the Christ is the anointed one. No, you got to ask the question, where did the Lord of hosts anoint him?
Right, exactly. And then, like I said, David, he killing giants.
Mm-hmm.
Giants, come on, they ain't making no sense. So he did the Most High telling you all through the Psalms that David is his anointed.
Right.
They brought my clothing, my anointed, and he keep telling you that all through the scripture. Let me read one of them. Psalms 89, I think it's 51. Verse 51. We're going to get off of here. Psalms 89, starting at verse 50. Remember, Lord, and the reproach of thy servant, how I did bear in my bosom the reproach of all the mighty people, wherewith thine enemies have reproached. O Lord, wherewith thou have reproached the footstool of thine anointed.
Mm.
See that?
Yeah.
Telling you right there, he's anointed. Yeah, so it's all through the scriptures, all through the Psalms. He's the anointed one. The Most High told you. And then it's like when you understand a witness is that all the kings that was on the throne in Judah came out of David lineage.
That's
So,
something out here.
so David is he the anointed one. Everybody else came out of his lineage.
Exactly. David is the source. I mean, the Lord of hosts is the ultimate source. But
Right.
David's loins, I didn't realize that every king, whether they were wicked or not, came from David. I thought just the good kings came from David.
So I hope this right here helps somebody. So, like I said before, I was going on back in a couple of years ago when we was having this questions, but nobody might not really register. But I mean, let me get it right quick. Yeah, Isaiah chapter 7, right quick. Chapter 7 says, chapter 7, verse 1. It came to pass in those days, Ahaz out of David lineage. He's out of David lineage. He wanted David house. Says Ahaz, the son of Jotham, son of Uzi, all these men out of David's lineage. King of Judah, that Rezin, the king of Syria, and Pecan, the son of Remaliah, of Israel, went up toward Jerusalem to war against it, but could not prevail. So what's their purpose? Verse 6. Let us go up against Judah, right? And vex it. How they gonna vex it? Let us make a breach therein for us and set a king in the midst of it, even the son of Tubal. See, they trying to take the seed of David out of there.
Right.
That's the way you vex Israel.
Okay.
So what did these Edomites do? They took JC. They done vexed the house of Israel. Instead of king in there that ain't out of David lineage.
Right. Okay.
So how you know he ain't out of David lineage? The Holy Ghost came in and overshadowed Mary. Joseph ain't going into it.
Right.
They following with that. He ain't out of David lineage because he told you I ain't overshadowed Mary. Joseph didn't even go in him. So
and he wasn't a giant.
And he wasn't no giant.
Right. Married in the Holy Ghost, he wasn't a giant. That's
right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's ignorant. Because you gonna tell me, you just gonna, like I say, you just say he out of the house of David. He ain't out of the house of David because you can sit there and chose lie and said, I ain't overshadowed.
Right.
But let me get off here. Let me
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna see y'all. I'll see the men tomorrow, but I'll see everybody else on Wednesday at 7 o'clock.
Shalom.
Shalom.